Today's video is brought to us by LALULA Hair. They sent me over 3 bundles of their deep wave in 20 inches. This is 100% natural human hair and each bundle comes with 100 grams. Since we're going to be doing the Bora Bora style of braids, we're going to use all 3 bundles. I already have the first bundle of hair prepped on my rack here. This rack is double-sided, so that side of the rack is a half a bundle. The other side of the rack is the other half of the bundle. Once I use this up, I will have to stop and prep more, and I am using 42-inch braiding hair. I am doing medium-sized parting, which is 10 rows across the front, and all I do is part off the front and then connect the back. I usually leave the nape out, but I had enough hair to catch, so I got 3 braids in the back. You'll also notice for that first row, I started adding the pieces in lower because I don't want a lot of hair on my nape area, because y'all know that's where the hair touches your neck, gets in contact with your skin and your oils and sweat, and that's when tangling happens. The key to installing boho braids like this is to keep the product off of the curls. When the curls get in contact with the product, the only way you can get it off the hair is to shampoo it out. So if you've ever gotten boho braids and they seem really stiff and sticky after you get them done, that's because there's too much product that came in contact with it. So what I like to do is only put the product on my index finger and my thumb, and then I use the rest of my fingers to pull the hair out of the way. The name of this game is to get all 3 bundles in if we want maximum fullness. So I'm literally adding hair about 1 inch or 2 apart. Now most of this video is going to be a step-by-step watch me work. You're going to see exactly how many pieces I add in, how I add them in. Notice that I kind of stick to like a plan. Instead of guessing where to add the hair in, I do it by counts. So I count the rotations, add hair in, pull it out, count rotations, and then continue there. To finish the braid off with a piece of curly hair at the end, I'm going in with my braid sealer, and all I do is just separate the synthetic hair from the human hair, pull off the excess, and then roll it between my fingers. All that's going to do is just seal it so that it doesn't come loose. If you are new here, please remember this method only works for synthetic braiding hair. It does not work on human hair. So if you want to do this with all human hair, this will not work. You'll need to either knot it or add nail glue. Since I was doing this by count alone, the amount of pieces I was adding really just depended on the length of the braid. I determined the length of the braid based on where it stopped at the end of the braiding hair. So this was the 42-inch braiding hair. I just stopped it to where it was about 3 inches of give so I could burn it off, and then went from there. Since this is 20-inch deep wave, the hang time at the end of the braid added a whole lot of length. When I got to the 3rd row where I could kind of see what I was doing, I started adding pieces at the root for more fullness. If you struggle with grip game for this, I did post a video a little while ago on a hack you can do to kind of make crochet pieces out of the human hair, and that should help you with the grip game. Going back to my counting method, this is an example. I added in the human hair first, started 1 rotation to lock it in with my natural hair, then I added in my 3 pieces of braiding hair, then I started adding in my boho pieces. Now there's different ways you can add boho pieces in. You can add it in with the blunt side just pointing down and braid from there, but I do find that you could get more slippage or shedding when you do it that way, because the braid can kind of slip out if it ever gets loose. You can also more easily pull the hair out if you're using a brush or a comb. So what I prefer to do is just to add the hair in feed in method style, so it's hooked over and downward, both ends are down. You braid over 1 time and then you release the curly end. If you're not a tight braider, you're going to want to braid down a few more rotations before you release that curly end. Here's another example of how I seal the ends. I just hold it and then I wait for the synthetic pieces to fall off and then roll it between my fingers. If you want this exact tool, I will always have it linked in my Amazon storefront, and it will also be in the description box below. But if you don't have one or can't get your hands on one, you can always use a flat iron that can go up to 450 degrees. Preferably a pencil flat iron so that you can target specific areas. For the top of the head, I do have to go overhand, and you can see where I'm adding in that one piece at the root. I'm locking in that piece with my natural hair. And then for easier braiding in my arms, I flip my hands over to a comfortable position, add in my first piece of braiding hair, add in my second piece of braiding hair, and add in my third, so I have 3 equal legs, and then I start adding in my boho pieces. What you'll see me demo right here again is that I don't add product to the curls. I only add them to the actual braid itself. Believe it or not, this only took me 5.5 hours. I started at 8 p.m. and was done at 1:30 a.m. But you'll notice I'm not really braiding that fast. I mostly attribute my speed to always knowing what my next move is going to be. I always start with prep, knowing exactly how much hair I've prepped, where it's going to be, and where I need to grab it. I pre-parted my lines and my rows so I knew exactly where I wanted my boxes to be. And I stuck to my cadence so I knew exactly where my stopping point was for every single braid. Not to mention, I keep my distractions at a minimum. I was literally locked in this bathroom the entire time. People don't realize how much time they waste thinking about their next move. When you already know what that next move is going to be, you've already saved yourself time. Since it was late and I was already tired and needed to get up early in the morning, I went ahead and tied everything up by just putting it in a loose bun and covering it with my bonnet. This is the next morning and a prime example of what happens to human hair when you just set it and forget it. Since I had it pulled back into that bun, a lot of the hair has flattened out, it has stuck together, and it's lost its body. It was also feeling a little bit stiff. So to revive the hair, instead of wetting it, I like to go in with my travel steamer. The heat from the steam not only loosens the braiding hair, but it adds just enough moisture to give that hair a little bit of bounce back. To separate the curls, I go in with a light spray of oil sheen. And I went through and I separated the curls one by one. What happens is when the hair especially is long, the pieces tend to wrap around each other and wrap around the braid itself. And the only way to get them off is to pull them apart. So this is what they mean when they say boho braids are high maintenance styles. It will require a bit of effort on your part on a daily basis. If you let tangling or matting go unchecked for too long, it's going to be irreversible, and the only way to get it out is to cut it out. Here you can see the difference in the hair from side to side. That one side is quite stiff. And here is the final look. Definitely a switch up from the bob I had previously. Although this does look like a lot of hair, the hair is super lightweight. I actually shot this 4 days after the fact. And I can tell you I did have to dedicate about 10 to 20 minutes a day in maintaining it. As always, if you learned something new, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and tell a friend. Special thanks to our sponsors at LALULA Hair. You can find all of the information about this hair in the description box below. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out. And for more updates on how I maintain this hair, follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.